Let me start with a question that may make you a little uncomfortable. What if the next 10 years of your life look almost exactly like the last 10? Same routines, same frustration, same financial pressure, same unrealized potential. Not because you failed, not because you didn't try, but because you didn't change enough. You see, most people don't ruin their lives. They simply repeat them year after year with small adjustments, but no real transformation. And the calendar quietly keeps moving. Now, here's what makes 2026 different. 2026 is not just another year. It's a line in the sand, because the decisions you make now will quietly determine whether the next decade is a breakthrough or a continuation. Most people drift into the future. They hope things will improve. They wait for clarity. They wait for motivation. But drifting has a destination, and it's rarely where you want to go. Let me say this clearly. Time does not improve your life. Change does. And change does not happen automatically, because a new year begins. A new year only works if you work differently inside it. That's why some people look back 10 years later and say, those were the years that changed everything. While others say, I don't know where the time went. Same calendar, same world, different decisions. The difference is not luck, it's discipline. And discipline begins with standards. What you tolerate, what you accept, what you continue to do, even when it isn't working. If you do not consciously choose new standards in 2026, your old ones will choose for you. And here's the truth most people avoid. If you don't make intentional changes now, life will make them for you later, through pressure, through necessity, through regret. And regret is always more expensive than discipline. Now, I'm not here to overwhelm you. You don't need to change everything. You don't need to become someone else. But you do need to become more deliberate. Over the years, I've observed something consistent. The people who transform their lives don't do 100 new things. They do a few right things consistently, year after year. So in this message, I want to walk you through 7 things, not theories, not hype. 7 practices that, if you commit to them in 2026, will quietly pull your life in a new direction. Ignore them, and you may find yourself having this same conversation 10 years from now. And I don't want that for you, because potential is a terrible thing to waste, and time, once spent, never comes back. Let's begin with the first thing you must do in 2026. And it's not working harder. It's not setting bigger goals. It's raising your standards. Most people don't fail because they aim too high. They fail because they accept too little. They accept being tired all the time. They accept being stressed about money. They accept being busy but unfulfilled. They accept living below their potential and call it normal. And whatever you accept, you reinforce. You see, hope is not a strategy. Wishing is not a plan. Life changes the moment you decide that certain things are no longer acceptable. Not someday. Now, when you raise your standards, your behavior changes, not because someone forces you, but because you refuse to live below them anymore. You stop saying, I'll try, and you start saying, this is who I am now. You don't wait for motivation, you act from identity. Let me give you an example. When someone decides, I am no longer the kind of person who neglects their health, they don't need motivation to eat better or move more. Their standards have changed. When someone decides, I am no longer the kind of person who wastes their evenings, their habits shift naturally. Standards are powerful because they operate even when no one is watching. Most people keep lowering their standards to match their current life. Successful people do the opposite. They raise their standards and force their life to rise with them. Now, here's the key point. Raising your standards doesn't mean becoming harsh or unrealistic. It means becoming intentional. It means deciding what you will no longer tolerate in 2026. Poor use of time, lack of learning, undisciplined spending, negative thinking, settling for good enough. If you don't decide your standards, your environment will decide them for you. and environments rarely demand excellence. So in 2026, the first thing you must do is draw a clear line. This is who I am willing to be. This is who I am no longer willing to be. Because once your standards rise, everything else has a place to stand on. Now let's talk about the second thing you must do in 2026. You must stop drifting. Most people don't plan their days. They respond to them. They wake up and immediately react to messages, to demands, to emergencies. And by the end of the day, they're exhausted, but they can't clearly explain what they actually built. Drifting feels natural. Design feels intentional. And life always moves in the direction of intention. You see, if you don't design your day, someone else will. Your job will decide how you spend your energy. Other people will decide how you spend your time. Distractions will decide how you spend your focus. And then years go by, people say, I don't know where the time went. But time didn't go anywhere. It was spent without direction. Now let me be clear. Designing your day does not mean controlling every minute. It means deciding what matters most. It means asking before the day begins, what must be done today that moves my life forward? Not what's urgent, not what's loud, but what's important. 1 hour of focused effort on the right thing is worth more than 10 hours of scattered activity. People who move ahead don't do more. They do less better. They protect time for thinking, time for learning, time for improvement. And they schedule those things first, not last. If you leave growth for when there's time, there will never be time. Design requires discipline, but discipline creates freedom. When you design your days, life feels calmer. You're less reactive, less rushed, more in control. And over time, design days create design lives. So in 2026, stop letting the day happen to you. Decide in advance where your best energy goes. Because the days you don't design are the days that quietly disappear. Now, let me give you the third thing you must do in 2026. And this one may be the most important of all. You must learn to work harder on yourself than you work on your job. Most people reverse this. They pour all their energy into their job and give what's left, if anything, to their personal growth. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Here's the reality. Your job will rarely grow faster than you do. If your skills stay the same, your opportunities stay the same. If your thinking stays the same, your income stays the same. If your discipline stays the same, your future stays the same. Jobs come and go. Companies change. Markets shift. That you are the constant. That's why personal development is not optional. It's essential. For things to change, you must change. For things to get better, you must get better. And that improvement doesn't require massive effort. It requires daily attention. Reading a little each day. Learning new skills, improving communication, refining judgment, small improvements practiced consistently, create a different person over time. And that different person earns different results. Let me say this clearly, you don't get paid for how hard you work. You get paid for the value you bring. If you bring more value, you will be rewarded not out of kindness, but out of necessity. That's how life works. Most people wait until they're forced to grow when the job is threatened, when the money gets tight, when pressure becomes unbearable. Successful people grow before it's required. They prepare quietly. They learn when no one is watching. They build skills long before opportunity knocks. And when opportunity finally appears, it looks like luck to everyone else, but it isn't luck. It's preparation. So in 2026, make yourself your most important project, because when you grow, everything connected to you grows too. Now let's talk about something that affects almost every decision you make. Money. Not because money is everything, but because poor money management makes everything harder. Most people don't fail financially because they don't earn enough. They fail because they never learn how to manage what they earn. They work hard. They get paid, and then the money disappears. Bills take it. Impulse spending takes it. Lack of planning takes it. And the result is constant pressure. Let me tell you something important. Financial stress is not caused by lack of income. It's caused by lack of control. Control comes from awareness. Awareness comes from discipline. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will leave without asking. Now, here's the mistake most people make. They treat money as something emotional. They spend when they feel good. They spend when they feel stressed. They spend to reward themselves for working hard. But money doesn't respond to emotion. It responds to structure, simple structure, knowing what you earn, knowing what you spend, knowing what you keep. You don't need to be a financial expert. You need to be financially intentional. Let me give you a simple principle. Spend less than you earn. Invest the difference. Repeat. It sounds basic, and that's why it works. Wealth is not built through dramatic decisions. It's built through small, wise choices made consistently over time. And here's something else most people don't realize. Money is a tool. Either you use it deliberately or it controls your choices. When money controls you, you say yes to things you shouldn't. You stay in situations you've outgrown. You trade long-term growth for short-term relief. But when you manage money well, you gain options. Options create freedom. Freedom creates confidence. Confidence changes how you show up in the world. So in 2026, don't just work hard for money. Learn how to make your money work for you, because financial discipline doesn't restrict your life, it expands it. Now let's finish this properly, because these final three are what separate temporary improvement from lasting change. Thing fifth, stop waiting for motivation. Build discipline. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting to feel ready. They wait for motivation. They wait for confidence. They wait for clarity, but motivation is unreliable. It shows up when it wants to and leaves when you need it most. Discipline is different. Discipline shows up even when motivation doesn't. Discipline is choosing to act because you decided who you're going to be, not because you feel like it today. You don't wait to feel disciplined. You practice discipline, getting up when it's uncomfortable, doing the work when it's boring, staying consistent when results are invisible. And here's the truth. Discipline is not punishment. It's protection. It protects your future from the cost of inconsistency. In 2026, stop asking how you feel. Start acting on who you've decided to become. Thing sixth, upgrade your circle and your input. Let me say something that may challenge you. Your life rarely rises above the conversations you live in, the books you read, the voices you listen to, the people you spend time with. Input shapes thinking. Thinking shapes decisions. Decisions shape destiny. If you're surrounded by people who complain, you'll normalize excuses. If you're surrounded by people who drift, you'll call stagnation normal. But when you change your input, your standards rise naturally. You don't need to cut everyone off, but you do need to be selective. More learning, more wisdom, more conversations that stretch you, less noise, less negativity, less distraction disguised as entertainment. In 2026, guard what goes into your mind, because whatever you allow in regularly will eventually show up in your results. Thing seventh, commit to consistency, not perfection. And finally, this is the one that ties it all together. Consistency. Most people fail because they try to be perfect. They start strong, they aim high, they burn out, then they quit. But success doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence, small actions, repeated daily, over time. Missing a day doesn't ruin progress. Quitting does. Being imperfect doesn't stop growth. Being inconsistent does. The people who change their lives are not the most intense. They are the most consistent. They keep showing up. They keep adjusting. They keep improving, even when it's slow. And slow progress sustained beats fast progress that collapses. Final close. The decision that changes everything now. Let me leave you with this. The next 10 years of your life will be shaped by what you choose to practice in 2026. Not what you hope, not what you talk about, what you do. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you keep getting what you've been getting. But if you decide today to raise your standards, design your days, work on yourself, manage your money, build discipline, upgrade your input, and stay consistent, your life cannot stay the same. It will change quietly, gradually, inevitably. And one day, you'll look back and realize 2026 wasn't just another year. It was the year you stopped drifting and started directing. And that decision is available to you right now.